Have you ever held a coin so small, so ordinary that you almost ignored it, only to realize it could be worth millions of dollars? Imagine pulling a simple dime from your pocket, the kind you might use without a second thought, and discovering it's not just 10 cents, but a hidden treasure. Somewhere in the world right now, a tiny United States dime, something people drop, lose, or overlook every day, is quietly sitting in a collection, valued at millions. The shocking part isn't just its price, it's how easily it could have passed through countless hands unnoticed. That's the mystery of coins: history, rarity, and human error all pressed into a thin circle of metal. And today, we're diving into the story of one of the most fascinating pieces of currency ever created, the United States of America one dime, and how some of these tiny coins have become legends worth fortunes. The United States dime, worth 10 cents, might seem insignificant at first glance. It's smaller than most coins, lighter than many, and often forgotten at the bottom of wallets or jars. But its story stretches back centuries, deeply tied to the formation of a nation, the evolution of currency, and the artistry of coin design. The word dime itself comes from the French word dime, meaning tenth, reflecting its value as 1/10 of a dollar. When the United States began forming its own monetary system in the late 18th century, the dime became one of the foundational denominations, representing precision and practicality in everyday trade. In 1792, the Coinage Act officially established the U.S. Mint and introduced the dime as part of the nation's first standardized currency system. These early dimes were not just money, they were symbols of independence. Before that, Americans relied heavily on foreign coins, particularly Spanish silver. Creating a uniquely American coin wasn't just about economics, it was about identity. Early dimes were made of silver, giving them intrinsic value beyond their face value, and their designs reflected the ideals of liberty, freedom, and unity. Over the years, the design of the dime evolved, each version telling a story of its time. The early draped bust and capped bust designs showcased classical imagery, inspired by European art. Later, the seated Liberty design symbolized stability during a young nation's growth. But perhaps the most recognizable version came in 1946, when the Roosevelt dime was introduced, honoring President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his death. Roosevelt's leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, along with his connection to the March of Dimes campaign against polio, made him a fitting figure for this coin. Since then, his profile has remained on the dime, making it one of the most consistent designs in U.S. currency. Despite its common appearance, not all dimes are created equal. Some are extraordinarily rare, and a few have reached legendary status among collectors. One of the most famous examples is the 1894 S. Barber dime. Only 24 of these coins were ever minted, and today, fewer than 10 are known to exist. Imagine that, just a handful of tiny coins surviving from over a century ago. These dimes weren't intended to be special. They were struck under mysterious circumstances, possibly for bookkeeping adjustments or special distribution. But over time, their rarity transformed them into treasures. One of these dimes sold for nearly $2 million, turning a 10-cent coin into a life-changing discovery. Stories surrounding the 1894 S. Barber dime add to its mystique. One popular tale suggests that the mint superintendent gave a few of these coins to his daughter, advising her to save them because they would become valuable someday. Instead, she reportedly spent one on ice cream. That single decision, choosing a sweet treat over a future fortune, has become a legendary example of how easily history can slip through our fingers. It also raises an intriguing question: how many rare coins have been lost, spent, or forgotten simply because no one realized their worth? Another extraordinary example is the 1916 D. Mercury dime. While not as rare as the 1894 S, it is still highly sought after due to its limited mintage. The Mercury dime, officially known as the Winged Liberty Head dime, is often mistaken for the Roman god Mercury because of the winged cap worn by Liberty. Its design symbolizes freedom of thought, making it one of the most artistically admired coins in American history. A high-quality 1916 D. Mercury dime can be worth tens of thousands of dollars, proving that even relatively more common rare coins can carry significant value. But what makes a dime worth millions? It's not just age. Several factors determine a coin's value: rarity, condition, historical significance, and demand among collectors. A coin that is extremely rare but heavily worn may be worth less than a slightly more common coin in perfect condition. Collectors use grading systems to evaluate coins, with terms like mint state indicating a coin that appears almost as it did when it was first struck. The difference between a worn coin and a pristine one can mean the difference between a few dollars and a small fortune. Errors also play a major role in coin value. Sometimes, mistakes during the minting process create unique variations, double strikes, missing elements, or unusual metal compositions. These errors are often caught and corrected quickly, making surviving examples incredibly rare. For collectors, these flawed coins are not defects. They are one-of-a-kind pieces of history. A dime with a minting error could be worth hundreds, thousands, or even millions, depending on its uniqueness and condition.